Hi there, it's Roman. I just wanted to have a quick chat about the book Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. I'm going to put the cover in like for the cover image of the video, so you'll be able to see what that looks like. But it's a collection of myths about the Norse pantheon that he wrote, kind of put his own spin on his own writing style, his own kind of way of putting together stories. And I found it very enjoyable. I've always been a big fan of mythology. Started out with the Greek myths when I was a kid after I watched Disney's Hercules. Kind of started there, and then got to some stuff with the Norse myths too. So that was always really fun. So I've always been a fan of that, and says kind of the experience was twinged with nostalgia for me, which kind of helped. But because it could kind of like if you're not super into it, it's a bit of kind of a weird thing to go back with these stories and kind of the gender expectations they show about the ancient Norse people, kind of the social expectations, because he makes sure to put that in. I only know about that because I took a class on that in college, but that's just kind of, you'll get some of that, kind of how people act, the honor system, the kind of the vengeance system, all of that stuff. But all told together, even though it's a bunch of different stories from kind of different parts of the pantheon and its history, it has a really good flow in together. It kind of all comes together. There's a very strong beginning, like the beginning of the world, the origin story for the gods, for the universe, for mankind, and kind of keeps going with the characters. You get to know them, you form attachments to them. You kind of find out your favorites, and you learn to hate Loki, because that's kind of just being pissed off at everything that Loki does was a core part of the mythology and a core part of this book. So if you're a Tom Hiddleston fan, this is not the same dude. This is a much worse dude. There's not going to be any sympathy. There's no sympathy in here. But it all comes together, and then it ends with Ragnarok. Because I'm not spoilers. This has been around for a long time, but that's how it ends. It goes from the beginning to the end, so you get the whole thing all together, which was just a very enjoyable ride for me. Then with a really fun conclusion, where it all just kind of like hints at what potentially comes after the time of the Norse gods. And I think it's a really kind of strong introduction. Like, kind of, if you want to go more in deep, you go with the poetic and prose ed. If you really want to get kind of as close to the source as some story Starless and the guy who wrote that, the Icelandic monk who put those down to paper, did. But this is a really fun kind of introduction, and then kind of you'll be able to read different versions of it and do different texts if you want to keep going. But I think I would give this kind of a solid 3.5 to 4 out of 5. So it's definitely a read. Thank you.